Busy subway stations are not a sight for the faint-hearted. Especially during rush hour, even an awoken anthill most likely does not produce as many kcals as thousands of pairs of human legs hurrying towards trains. When a crowd picks you up and carries you, the most important thing is not to try to go in the opposite direction, since resistance is futile. And residents of the metropolis know this. But even at the busiest stations, there comes a period of relative calm. Most often that happens during the day. In such hours, the intervals between trains become longer. These few minutes are enough to take a look around or wander slowly along the platform. It's the perfect time to calmly examine the various parts and design of the station where you're at. Lisova station. It was opened on December 5, 1979. But it had a different name, Pionerska station. That's because in the year that it was unveiled, the International Year of the Child, as proclaimed by the UN, was being celebrated. It was renamed in 1993, and since then it bears the name of a residential district located nearby. And the surrounding area has not yet lost its main wealth. This part of Kyiv is famous for its forest areas. Lisova became the terminal station on the Red Line of the Kyiv Subway System. In terms of design, it is a two-tier island-type station and one of the 6 above-ground stations of the Kyiv Metro. Lisova is different from all these stations because it was built in the era of modernism, or rather, what is now called Soviet modernism, so its design was more expressive. For example, there are stained glass art inserts between the pillars that are located in pairs along the platform. Between them are special forged bars, in which the stained glass is inserted. It's immediately clear that artists took part in the creation of the station together with architects, including ceramists. That's why Lisova ended up being the brightest among the same above-ground metro stations. At the design stage, the station was called Murmanska Street. It was built via a special project. Today you can see the forged figures 1979 and the word station in Ukrainian between the near pillars of the platform. There was also its old name, Pionerska, above the letters and numbers, also in Ukrainian. But it was removed after the renaming, and it was replaced with nothing. The canopy above the platform rests on the double pillars in the center. Forged metal bars are located between them, with the station's main decoration, stained glass inserts. You can see especially well how they shimmer with rich colors in sunny weather. First of all, that's beautiful. Secondly, the artist's idea perfectly reflects the theme of the time when the station was opened. And the specifics of terminal stations are the same the world over. For example, many more people who find themselves in the metro for the first time can be found here, so unusual situations cannot be avoided. The first time riding the metro does not go smoothly for everyone, despite the apparent availability and simplicity of the metro rules. And it's good when such cases end well for passengers. There are trains that go from Lisova to Chernihivska without passengers in the morning rush hour. So the driver has to unlock the doors and get on the platform without letting passengers in. So I once saw a woman trying to get past the driver when he opened the door to get onto the platform. But he has no right to let her into the car, so his reaction was to let go of the door. He did that at precisely the moment that she managed to get her head inside. So it was just like in the "Well, just you wait" cartoon. Her head was inside, and the rest of her body was outside. Naturally, such accidents take place rarely in the metro. Metro employees have strict instructions in this regard, but in practice, anything can happen in the metro, including unusual situations that are not described anywhere and happen for the first time. They require an instant response, as the life and health of an unfortunate passenger often depend on the speed of decision-making, literacy, and resourcefulness of an employee. On one occasion when passengers were boarding at Lisova, the terminus station, one passenger somehow managed to get her leg stuck between the platform and the train car. She also fell in all the way up to her thigh, so even the passengers could not help get her out because her knee was thicker than the gap between the platform and the train car. That was during rush hour, so a decision had to be made. That is, either all the trains would be stopped, or an emergency team would have to be called to jack the train car, or they would have to do something on their own. They came up with the simplest thing. They asked passengers inside the train car to stand on the right side in the direction of the train's movement, so it would lean a little, and those who were on the platform, especially men, were asked to tip the train car. That's when they were able to pull the woman out, and that's how they resolved the situation. The main duty of a driver is to drive the train. The doors to his cockpit are always tightly closed, in line with instructions. All actions to be taken in the event of an emergency are also clearly defined there. For example, personally intervening in a conflict between passengers is strictly prohibited. If an emergency signal is received from a train car, they must immediately inform the train dispatcher about this and follow the instructions to the T. The appropriate services will deal with the situation. The police will take care of a rowdy passenger, and medics will provide medical assistance to those who need it. The driver is the captain of the train. Drivers do not have the right to leave their cabin. Such strict rules are based on many years of experience, and their observance is key to the proper operation of the entire subway. The metro is generally the most reliable form of public transport, especially in terms of tradition. As a carrier, it never fails and even speaks to passengers in a familiar voice, every day for many years. Kyiv residents know that. You step into the train car and hear. The doors are closing. Next station. As far back as I can remember, which is since the mid-90s, there have been automatic announcements in the metro system. That is, it wasn't a person speaking into the microphone, it was a recording. I could not understand that with my child's mind at the time, and I thought that all those announcements were alive. So I tried to take a peek at how this was done. I wanted to see the driver pick up a microphone and speak into it. I succeeded once. Apparently, there was something wrong with the recording, so the driver had to announce stations via the microphone. After that, I was totally convinced that it worked like that all the time. I only wondered why all the drivers had the same calm and even voice. The automatic announcement system. The driver always checks it before leaving the depot. Naturally, the announcements themselves are recorded. Some don't change for many years, others are updated from time to time. The phrases are voiced by professional voiceover artists in a recording studio. For example, when a station is renamed or a new one unveiled, as the information for passengers must always be up to date. Since 1992 and for almost 30 years now, Mykola Petrenko, dictator and art director of the Kyiv Academic Puppet Theatre, has been the unchanging voice of the metro. He said that during the selection of voiceover artists for station announcements, the drivers themselves were the judges. The main criterion was a voice that was not annoying, as the drivers would have to hear the same phrases every day of every shift. And the language of announcements itself changed numerous times during the existence of the Kyiv Metro. In my childhood, just like today, they were spoken in Ukrainian. But back then, they used to say the doors are closing. Instead of attention, the doors are closing. The next station is. Then in the second half of the 80s, with the then tendencies towards Russification, the announcements were translated into two languages, but not English and Ukrainian like now. The departure was announced in Ukrainian and arrival at the next station in Russian. Next station Khreshchatyk was announced in Ukrainian. Khreshchatyk station in Russian. Next station Universitet in Ukrainian. Universitet station in Russian. With time, Ukrainian was completely removed, and they began announcing station arrivals only in Russian. Since the time of adoption of the Declaration of State Sovereignty of Ukraine on July 16, 1990, metro stations in the capital have been announced only in Ukrainian. And since May 2012, you can also hear the English translation for the convenience of foreign guests, whose numbers are growing all the time.
Caution! The doors are closing. Next station.
Not long ago, when the next station was announced, its main attractions within walking distance were also listed. That related in the main to the central stations of the metro system. If Lisova station had been announced this way, it would have been quite original. Next station, Lisova, terminus. Exit to visit the largest food market in Kyiv and the flea market that's known all over the world. It turns out that according to a famous American magazine, the flea market at Lisova station is one of the most famous flea markets in Europe. It also ranks second in the rating of the best places to shop for the connoisseurs of this kind of antiques and rarities. And enthusiasts of market items regularly visit Lisova without additional announcements for fresh and expensive items, ensuring the status of the station as one of the busiest in Kyiv's underground system. Lots and lots of people. I often see familiar faces from our yard at Dovnar-Zapolsky Street. And it's a fairly large yard. Trains arrive every 3 minutes or even more frequently. Fewer people are arriving here, with many more leaving. After the construction of Lisova in 1979, there were ideas from time to continue the metro line eastwards. They even considered options for building the next station in Bykivnya, after the construction of high-rise buildings in this area, or in the event of the construction of the Kyiv Shidny station on the outskirts of Kyiv. Those plans did not become reality. Or in the event of the construction of the Kyiv Shidny station on the outskirts of Kyiv. Those plans did not become reality. Lisova remained the terminal station on the Red Line, with all of its surroundings and passengers who try to get into the train cars by breaking all the existing rules. The doors are closing. Next station,